Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is Moroccan Chicken Briwates. These are very traditional and they're made at almost any occasion really. Like when we have special occasions and events, you'd usually see these as a staple. So any parties, any event, any weddings, engagements, pretty much anything. And you can also make them like just on the regular basis. I'm not gonna lie, the recipe is quite time consuming and requires a lot of time and effort and patience, but when you make them and you try them, they are so worth it, and I highly recommend making these. We are currently making these to prepare for Ramadan. As you can see, it's approaching maybe 6 more days. So we're making these in preparation of Ramadan, and they're very nice and very delicious to make. So let's just get to the recipe. So our first step to chicken briwates, you're going to have to prepare your chicken. So here we have one whole chicken that we've split, and of course we've washed and cleaned thoroughly. We also have here one onion that we've finely chopped or diced. We have 2 cloves of garlic, a tablespoon of mustard, a teaspoon of soy sauce, and for our spices we have salt, a pinch of cinnamon, a quarter teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon ginger, half a teaspoon of turmeric, and a few strands of saffron, and some water. And we're not going to add in any oil, because if we added the oil, then the chicken will not marinate at all. So the marinade, of course, you're going to have to add all of your ingredients. So we're going to add the onion. And wear a glove because you have to mix it using your hands, otherwise nothing will incorporate really well. We have here the garlic, the mustard, soy sauce, and finally our spices. Now we're going to add in the water, and we'll mix that around using our hands. So we try incorporating our marinade into every corner of the chicken, every place possible. And once we do all of that, we're just going to cover it with plastic wrap, and we'll let it marinate overnight. So now we're just going to put it in the fridge and we'll let it marinate overnight. To make the chicken briwates, here we have our chicken which we've marinated overnight. Here we have a kilogram of onions, and they need to be just chopped. And we have here 6 eggs, 3 tablespoons of oil, 3 tablespoons of parsley. And for our spices, for the onion, we don't need to add any more spices to the chicken. We have salt, we have half a teaspoon of ginger powder, half a teaspoon turmeric, quarter teaspoon black pepper, and here we have a few leaves of saffron. We have half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and we're not adding it with the rest of our spices because we'll use it much later in the recipe. Here we have a total of half a teaspoon of cinnamon. If you don't have it, you don't need to add it, no problem. And we have some bosa leaves. Ideally, if we were in Morocco, we'd use the bastila one, but we don't live in Morocco, so we'll use this. First step is on a pot which we've already put to heat up. We're going to add some our oil, all of it, and we're going to wait for it to heat up a little more. So our first step is the chicken. We're just going to take our chicken pieces. We're going to put them here. So we're going to sear it a little bit. It doesn't really need to get golden brown because we don't really need the chicken itself. We're just going to shred it later on, or just take care of the bones and use it. Now we're going to add the marinade that was left in our bowl. And we're just going to let that sit there for a little bit. Now we're going to take the equivalent of 1 cup of hot water, and we'll just pour it into the bowl just to wash off the rest of the marinade, and we're going to add it there just to not waste it. And now we're just going to cover our pot, and we'll let our chicken cook, fully cook. So I forgot to mention that you should add half the quantity of your semen. I didn't do it, but we can still do it right now. We just need it to release its aroma. We should also be adding half of our parsley by now. And we're just going to cover that. So after checking if the chicken is cooked, we're just going to transfer it into a clean bowl. So we're going to wait for our chicken to cool down before we start taking off the bones and shredding it. But in the same pot, without cleaning it, we're going to add in our onions. And we're just going to saute that, and we're not going to add any water because the onion will eventually release its own water. And to our onions, we're going to add our spices, our semen, and the rest of the parsley. And we're going to saute that and let it all cook. So once the onions will start to wilt, I'll show you the volume of it and what we're going to do. So as you can see, they've wilted and we have not even added a single drop of water. So now we're going to add our cinnamon and we're going to mix that. So after mixing that, and as you can see, like I can smell the cinnamon right now and it smells amazing. So now we're going to slowly add in our eggs. So once you can no longer see the egg, we're going to add the other one as well, and we're going to continue this process with all our eggs. So now we're going to keep mixing in order for our eggs to cook but not stick to the bottom of the pot. And after they cook really well, we're just going to turn it off the heat and strain it. So as you can see, our eggs have cooked really well, and now we're just going to turn it off the heat and we have to strain it. Don't say that if it doesn't look like there's water, there maybe is water, so you need to make sure. So we're going to strain it and let it cool down completely. This is why I'm telling you that you have to strain it, because we've just put it on and it's already dripping, so we need to make sure that it's completely dry. While waiting for our onion and egg mixture to cool down, our chicken would have already cooled down, so we will remove it from the bones and try to take off the meat. So as you can see, we've tried to cut the chicken into smaller pieces. And now we're just going to wait for this to cool down. So as you can see, it released all of this, even though it looked dry while we were cooking it. So we're just going to wait for it to cool down before we start assembling everything. So once everything has cooled down, we're just going to add our onion and egg mixture to our chicken. We've transferred it to a bigger bowl just to make everything easier. And at the moment we have our butter melting, which we'll add some oil to. And we also have here 2 tablespoons of flour and a cup of water, which will be used to glue our dough. Mixing our chicken, we're going to slowly add the water to our flour. And then we're just going to clean our surface to start assembling everything. In order to assemble everything, we'll be using 2 leaves at a time because ours are very short. So you'll just take some of your flour mixture and you'll spread it on the edge of one of them. And you'll stick the other one. Now we're going to brush our leaves with some of our butter and oil. And make sure to brush it really well. And now we're going to take a spoonful of our mixture. and we're going to place it right about here. To start folding, and we'll fold from one edge to the other. And always make sure to fill your triangle. And when you come to the last bit, you're just going to brush it with more flour. And you'll stick it. So I'm going to do one more on camera, time lapse, because I have a lot and it will take a lot of time and it's hard to film and make them at the same time. So I'll make one more with you guys and then we'll meet when it's time to cook them. So we use a 900-gram chicken and it produced 45 briwates. So we're going to bake these. For now, we're going to bake these so I can show you what they look like. And the rest we're going to freeze. And when you want to freeze them, just freeze them this way. You have to layer them in this manner, and then you just we're going to cover them with plastic wrap. We'll let them freeze this way, and once frozen, you can transfer them to a Ziploc bag. And when you want to cook them, if they've been in the freezer and you want to cook them, just don't wait for them to defrost or thaw. You have to bake them immediately once you take them out of the freezer. So for the rest, for the ones that we're going to bake, we're going to just brush them with the rest of our butter and oil mixture. And we're going to bake them at the oven, which we've preheated to 180 degrees Celsius, and we'll bake them for... It doesn't matter. I think that until you see the paper nice and golden brown. So now we're just going to bake them at 180 degrees Celsius until they're nice and golden brown. So once we took them out of the oven, this is what they look like. They're still warm and they're crispy and they're nice and golden brown on both edges. We've served them on a bed of green just to make them look nice. So let's try one. So you heard the crunch, and this is what it looks like from the inside, the filling. Some people choose to fry them, but personally I think there's no need because we baked them and they're still nice and crispy. So I highly recommend making these. So this concludes today's video. I hope that you guys really liked this video and enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this kind of content, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook so you guys can support me to make more content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!